evening, ladies, and welcome to another exciting edition of Consumers Connect, the radio show where consumers are heard, brands are challenged, and conversations become insights. Every day, we are surrounded by advertising on television, on radio, on billboards, on social media, inside our favorite apps. Even the influencers you follow may be advertising something. So, here's the question: do advertising still convince us today to buy product, or have consumers become too smart to be influenced? This is Consumers Connect, and I am Ogali Abikele, your host on the show. And the conversation is really about advertising. Does it still influence, or consumers are looking for more smarter ways to, find their products? So this is a conversation today, and the question we're asking on the segment Consumer Pulse is: when you see an advert, do you get to, that feeling that, oh, I need to get this product? Does it inspire you to buy? Or are you moved by, recommendations from a friend or social media influencer? Let's just get the conversation started. And now this is where you call into the program to share your thoughts, your opinions, your experiences. Pretty much that's what we do on Consumers Connect. And the number to call is 08058975897. You can call on to share your thoughts, your experiences. Every one of us have one experience or the other to share. I personally, you on your phone, you're seeing various ad pops, on your screen, your social media, you're seeing various ads. And the question is, have you ever bought a product because you saw an advert? And yes, you can call us on WhatsApp on the number 08058975897. All right, you're still on to Consumers Connect, and the conversation is advertising making you buy? That's the simple and short, summary of what the discussion is about. And like I said, you can call the number on WhatsApp if you may. The numbers are 8058975897. And as always, we've gone to the street to gather some responses that we would be very pleased to share with you.
Yes, my advertisement influence what I buy because it tells me that a new product is now in the market. And before I buy it, I'll first check the price. Very important. If the price meets my budget, and if something I need, and the quality of that product, that is what will help me to know if I should buy this particular product or not.
Yes, adverts still influence what I buy, but not the way they used to. Obviously, the economy is not smiling. Before, I would see an ad on TV or on a billboard and go and buy it. Now, ads still catch my attention, especially on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, but I don't buy immediately. I go check reviews, I ask friends, and I also compare price first. So, ads influence me by making me aware of the product of, like, this new drink is out, or oh, Market Square is selling this in Port Harcourt. And then, well, what I actually buy depends on if I need it and if it's good and if people are saying good things about it.
Okay, so the number to call again is 08058975897. The conversation is, does advertising make you buy? And we went into the streets, we gathered some responses, and it will interest you to find out that most consumers buy because they see advertising, they see the product being advertised. And others just feel that advertising creates the awareness. And one of the advantages of having your product advertised is really to create an awareness. So yes, the conversation is advertising making you buy? The long and short. And you can call the number 08058975897. Okay, so while we wait for you to call into the show to share your thoughts, we'll move swiftly to the segment called Business Behind the Brand, where we usually get an expert within the marketing communications industry to really tell us, some things that we consumers do not have access to in terms of information. And we have today a marketing manager. In our respect, she has done incredibly well within the marketing communication space. She is Mrs. Alabi. I like my guests to do the introductions themselves because when you allow them, they do incredibly well at introducing themselves. So I would like to invite my guest. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
All right. Can you just tell us who you are and every other thing we need to know?
My name is Alabi Ponmile. I currently work at Guinness Nigeria, heading the ready-to-serve portfolio. So Smirnoff Ice. Currently on Big Brother. Can't really miss the brand. Prior to now, I is still in the Tolerant Group, marketing manager for Indomie. Before that, I've led an incredible team at UAC Foods, managing Gala Sausage Roll, Swan Spring Water, and Supreme Ice Cream.
Okay, thank you so much for that introduction. So the first question is, consumer behavior has changed significantly with the rise of social media and digital platforms. Now, in your opinion, do advertising still influence? I think we have a call.
Good evening, Consumer Connect.
Good evening, you're welcome. Can you stay away from your radio set, please? Hello, you're welcome to the show.
So, based on the question today, it is true that adverts influences whether I will buy a product or not. So, after using the product, I will now decide whether the advert is saying the truth about the product.
Okay. That's good. Another question I'd like to ask you, do you buy based on recommendation, and to what extent do that really inspire you to buy?
Okay, I buy based on recommendation. Sometimes I can see maybe my friend recommends the product to me or not. So yes, I buy based on recommendation to know, and then after using the product, then I will not decide whether the product is good or not.
Okay, thank you very much for calling into the program. Okay, thank you. So the number again to call is 080589758. You can call via WhatsApp and we're ready to get your responses. Please call. This is the time we really want to hear your opinion concerning what drives your purchase, particularly advertising. And so my question to you is, in your opinion, do advertising still influence purchase decision as strongly as it did a decade ago?
So my top line answer will be yes. I just think the how has changed. So if you go back 10 years ago, right? If I was watching my favorite show with my family and an ad pops up, I'm unable to skip the ad. So I'm forced to consume that information. Unlike now, where I'm watching the show and I can just skip your ad. So if I'm watching your ad, it's intentional. There's something I believe is exciting about your brand. So it's not just about advertising, it's what is the consumer message that you're trying to pass on to your consumers, right? So yes, does advertising still influence? The answer is yes. I just think the how is different. So when you think about shows like Big Brother Nigeria today, why do people tune into this show? It's the authenticity of the show. So it's beyond just subscribing for DSTV, because a lot of people, you see that they don't subscribe for DSTV, right? They rather watch their favorite movies on YouTube. But when the reality show comes back, because it's the biggest right now, people want to tune into it because people are in their natural elements. They're being their authentic self, right? So if an ad pops up in that show, people are more likely to watch it because it's in the things that they believe in. So if I'm subscribing to watch Big Brother, for instance, it means I subscribe to the values, or I want to learn something from the housemate, or I simply just want to be entertained. So if an ad comes up, I'm most likely going to watch it rather than if it was outside of what my preferences would be. So I think that shapes how advertising is being consumed today.
Yes, one thing that's very critical for consumers is they're changing behaviors, aspirations, experiences, and things like that, and it's impacting on how they consume the messages. So one thing I would like you to respond to is, in a bid to ensure that your message gets to them, they at the point where their attention is at the highest. Now, how can brands really cut through the noise? We have several advertisements running daily. If you're on social media, you're exposed to thousands of communication. So how can brands cut through the noise and create campaigns that genuinely capture attention and drive action?
So I would say simply sticking to one messaging. So for instance, in Indomie, we say show some love. We don't move away from it. We're saying one thing over and over again, and we're reinforcing communication. With Smirnoff Ice today, we say this is how we chill. And we say this through our events, through our partnerships, to say chill with us regardless of who you are, irrespective of who you are. But the communication is the same. How you tell the message can be tweaked, but you have a brand saying A today, B tomorrow, and that's where the consumer gets lost. But if you're sticking to your message and you're saying one thing over and over again, I think that's what actually builds salience for the brand, and that's what builds equity for the brands.
Absolutely. The number to call again, you're still on to Consumers Connect show, and the number to call is 08058975897. You can call on WhatsApp, and we'll be very excited to hear your thoughts on the show. The next question is, research shows that consumers increasingly rely on online reviews, recommendations, and user-generated content before making a purchase. Where does advertising fit into this decision-making journey?
So it will be very far-fetched if we don't say word of mouth is one of our biggest drivers today in the industry, right? I would consume a product if my friend tells me that they've tried it and it's a great product. Or I'll consume it if I believe an expert in the industry is telling me that it's a good product. So for instance, Swan Natural Spring Water is being endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association. So if a medical expert is telling me that I should drink this water because it is alkaline rather than other competitors in the market, I'm more likely to uphold that, right? Or if my friend tells me that, ever since I started drinking Swan, for instance, my food digests better, I am able to maybe sleep better, or whatever it is, right? I'm most likely to uphold that information because either a medical expert has told me, so maybe not a medical expert. So that's why you have influencers again. I think that's why brands leverage influencers. The only mistake I see a lot of marketing professionals make is the sort of influencers that they choose on their brand. So if in my life I'm lifestyle, and then I'm now on a lifestyle brand, it sort of fits in, right? So for instance, if someone like Timini, everybody knows that he's very big on nightlife, tells you that, drink this brand, it helps me stay awake or gives me the energy, for my nightlife, then I'm most likely going to try that brand. As opposed to somebody, when you go on their Instagram page, everything that they talk about is, I want to be in the church, or I'm this in the church, and that person is now an influencer talking to me about an alcoholic beverage brand. There's there's a misfit in that. So I think that, yes, word of mouth works perfectly. And they're influencers for a reason. When we think of the word influencers, what does it really mean? It means that you're supposed to influence me to take an action, right? So,
speaking about influencers now, we did a conversation around celebrity endorsement and to see how that drives purchase decision. And it will interest you to find out that a lot of consumers felt that with the current influencers brands use, there is a disconnect. So you find out that there's no alignment with the consumer. So there's let's say I don't want to call the names, but there's a superstar. You are the superstar, and I am the consumer. There's a life I'm used to. You are not. You are just high up there. So there is a disconnect. How do we bridge that gap? And then you're seeing, emergence of nano influencers. People that aligns with, they have my everyday experience. They enter tricycle like me. They jump the buses like me. So I see myself in them. So can you just help us connect all of this?
So, I mean, anybody that's watching the Big Brother show, somebody said, I go to church in the day and I climb in a pool at night, right? So what that means is that as an individual, I can have multiple personalities, right? So today today is a Friday, I've gone to work, right? I can still decide that, I work in an alcoholic beverage company. I can decide I want to spend my nights in church. Does that make me less of a Christian because I work in an alcoholic beverage company? So the answer is no. So, but what I'm saying is, for a brand to use an influencer, so it's different when you say I'm a different person. So, Malta Guinness ran a campaign recently to say for every side of you. What that means is I can be a doctor, but I can also be an influencer. I mean, my brother is a medical doctor, but he works in marketing, right? So there are different sides of people. But when you want to influence for a brand, it means that that particular thing I'm telling you is what I want you to do. So if I don't see it in your day-to-day life, then it becomes a problem. But can I say that an individual can have multiple sides to their life? Of course. I mean, I feel like we're all dynamic in the way we live our lives. We have different parts that make us. So you see a woman who is a mom, is a boss. She's also, a friend. She's a daughter to her parents, right? So it shows you different dynamics. So that also comes with lifestyle. I can serve in church, but that doesn't mean that you will not find me in the club on a Friday night if my job demands that I do that. But when you talk about consumer behaviors and you're trying to use influencers to shape that, then the trail of your life must show that.
Absolutely, I agree with you. So we're moving swiftly into the next segment of the show, called the Consumer's Courtroom. So we usually bring up case studies, and I would like to get your input on this one, and our consumers who are listening to us as well. We also have consumers watching us live streaming from here. And so the number to call to contribute is 08058975897. So Consumers Courtroom, in a bit.
Your voice matters, your opinion counts.
Alright, so this is Consumers Courtroom. I hope you're ready for us.
I hope it's none of my brands.
No. You're safe. Alright, so tonight's case is titled The People versus Modern Advertising. So yes, the case. A beverage company launches a beautiful television commercial. The advert shows happy families, exciting moments, promises, and an unforgettable taste. Thousands rush to buy it. A week later, social media is flooded with comments. A drink wasn't as good as the advert, which in some of the cases, right? They overpromise and underperform based on, right? So, and then they're saying that it looks better, or rather, it looks bigger on television. I expected more. The company argues advertising is meant to create awareness, not guarantee personal satisfaction. Now, the consumer argues if the advert creates unrealistic expectation, isn't that misleading? So today, who is right? How should this be approached? We've had occurrences where you see very glamorous adverts promising so many things, and the consumer is meant to make a decision. At the point of experiencing that product, it doesn't really feel like what they've promised.
So this is my opinion, right? I think we should go back to the drawing board. What is advertising? Advertising is not just brand awareness, it's beyond that, right? Okay. So if I walk into a store today and there's an array of products, because to be honest, as marketeers, one of our biggest problem is how do I win market share, right? So I have the people who primarily consume me. How do I keep recruiting consumers, right? And in recruiting consumers is the first time a consumer interacts with my brand. I want them to keep coming back, right? So if I create a flamboyant ad and I don't spend enough time ensuring that my product is fantastic, then I lose consumers, right? And the moment I lose them, so it can be because of taste. So taste is one thing, but also there's more to it. There's also distribution. Am I in the places where it's easy for my consumers to meet me? So for instance, let's say I live on the street of Ikeja and my consumer has to travel 30 minutes to get me, I've already lost that consumer, because in the array of the brand that I play in, my consumers will switch. And once they switch and the product is fantastic, they no longer look for me, right? So it's beyond just having a fantastic product. It's having a fantastic product that is appealing and is available to your consumers. So these are the core 3 elements to it. So if I create a fantastic ad and my product is not available, I lose the consumer. If I create a fantastic ad and a consumer tries me and the product is rubbish, they also lose me. But what that also does is I'm also advertising for my
Your
competition.
Exactly.
Because if, for instance, I didn't used to drink coffee, but I have a colleague who loves coffee, and he's like, okay, you know what? Don't buy coffee, right? Because I know you don't like it. But can you try 3-in-1? I tried it. It was fantastic, right? So now I drink 3-in-1, right? Okay, so if Nescafe is not available to me today, but there's another brand that has a 3-in-1 that is also as fantastic and is available to me and is maybe at a lower price point, I might buy it. So for me, coffee is not a need for me. It's a want. Oh, I don't want to sleep at work. I'm consuming coffee, right? So I think that as marketeers, it's not just about spending it. I know it's very difficult, right? Because, in brand management, you have to deal with, so marketing is one part of it, but product development is another part. We keep saying we want to innovate, and innovation is about giving your consumers fantastic products, right? There are people that will tell you like, oh, I have to travel 25 minutes to be able to get to this particular thing. They don't travel that distance because you are like every other person. They travel that distance because, you command that quality. So I think for every marketer, for every product, quality should be first. But then again, because we run into the mass market, so you can have a flanker brand. And I think that's what a lot of brands are, involving today. So I have a very premium product, but who is my fighter brand to be able to speak to the mass, right? And if I know I want quality, I know that this is quality. So it is very, very important. Consumer education is also very key, right? You see, for instance, there's milk that we know what it is today. There's also creamer. I should not advertise a creamer as milk. And then my consumer opposes and they're like, oh no, this is not milk. I should be able to say, yeah, there's milk. I have milk. But there's also,
Okay, so we're still on to Consumers Connect, and it's been very interesting here. We got a response from one of our listener, Dr. Clement Ayo, is saying to us that he's enjoying the program, and of course the guest. You're very interesting. So yes, and even the people here right here in the studio is confirming that our guest is a very interesting one. Thank you so much. All right, so the number to call, like I said, you can also call on WhatsApp, is 08058975897. So don't allow this program end without putting your mouth inside this matter. Now, the question I would like to ask you, you have produced several adverts. Is there anyone that, you were part of that really made so much sense? Do you want to share quickly?
I feel like if I mention a particular
If you don't even mention it, I'll help you mention it.
if I mention a particular one, I know that my people will come for me, but the one that was really interesting and that we got a lot of comments for was the Mama Do Good ad at Indomie. So we went decades back, right? Indomie has evolved from being a childhood brand to a brand that we've now said we want to relaunch with flavors. So Indomie is the brand that you ate when your mom will cook it for you, when you're coming home from school, or before you go out in the morning.
We have a call. Hello.
Okay, this is Dr. Clement.
You're welcome to the program, sir.
I have a question for your guest.
Okay,
So
please.
my question is this. Between digital apps and mass media platform like radio or TV, TV commercials, which one do you rather go for? For a product that touches on the household usage? Thank you.
So I think the simple answer is, who is your target audience and what exactly are you trying to drive? So I think a lot of us just first think advertising rather than our objective. So once you set your objectives first, it helps you, narrow down your pipeline. So it's advertising is you want to be where your consumers are, so it becomes relevant. So I mentioned earlier to say that 10 years ago, advertising was simply buying a slot, being on TV, and then people did not have the option to say, I want to change the channel. Right now, people would not watch your advert if they don't think it's personal to them. So human beings are the way we are at our default. We hate to be advertised to. However, if I feel like you have a solution for a need that I have, I'm more likely going to listen to you. So I mean, for instance, we have adverts today that tells you if you drink this tea, you will lose 20 kg. A lot of people watch it. Or if you drink this tea, it's kidney stone breaker. A lot of our mothers are very guilty about this, or if you mix this leaf and this leaf, it does this, it does that. So because that need for them is there innately, they are more likely to listen to whatever that advert is. Or a man that has receding hairline, for instance, you tell him that, oh, there's a cream for you to use. So based on your question, my suggestion would be that household item, how much does it cost? Who is my target audience? Are they tilted towards the younger guys? Everybody knows that the younger guys are more online. Or are they tilted towards the older guys? So if it's tilted towards the older guys, you then now think, what segment of older guys are these people that would listen to radio on their way home? So maybe you're talking to the 35s to 50-year-olds, or the maybe 50s to 60s who will probably be in their car between 7 and 9 p.m. when they're on their way home. Then radio is it. If it's a family product, you think, okay, let me advertise on TV, maybe on a Saturday morning where it's family time, where the father and the mother are together and they have family time. So I mean, my suggestion would be first for you to think about it. Who is my target audience? Where can I find them? I think once you answer that, the answer will be very, very clear.
Who is my target audience and where can I find them? Thank you so much for coming on the show. If you have more questions, I'm very certain that more questions are coming. Please drop the question on the WhatsApp chat. We're gonna respond. So quickly we go on to industry update. Now, before we conclude the show, here is an important announcement for everyone in the Nigerian advertising and marketing communications industry. The Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria, ALCON, will host the annual Advertising Industry Colloquium on Thursday, 6th August 2026 at the Podium Event Center, Ikeja, Lagos. Now, the annual colloquium brings together regulators, agency leaders, brand owners, media professionals, academics, and other stakeholders to discuss emerging issues as it concerns the future of advertising in Nigeria. So that's it on the show. Do well to join us same time next week for another interactive session. If you must reach out to us after the show, kindly call the number 08169441721. Send in your messages. We'll be very excited to respond to them. I must say thank you again to our delectable guest in the studio for making our time to add value to the conversation around advertising. See you again next week. Let's do it again. Join us on Consumers Connect at 6:30 p.m. Bye-bye.